I've got to tell you, I don't know if it's the fact that everybody's now living in Texas or if it's just the progression of the season. And now that we're 6, 8, maybe a little bit more than that weeks into team scrims and actually figuring out this game. But what we're seeing from OpTic, I think that they're solidifying themselves as one of those top 3 squads. Now, you might think, well, of course they're one of those top 3 squads, but really before the last week, I put them in like the top tier, but I wouldn't have been shocked if at a major tournament they finished 5th, right? I don't think that's outside the realm of possibility for most people's predictions. But as of late, and I don't know if it's the teams that they're scrimming or what, but I consider these 2 squads to really be pretty close. I think OpTic's probably the better squad, but I don't think Minnesota's a pushover. And in this scrim, in yesterday's scrim against Florida, OpTic, they just look tremendous. And I think that the move to Texas by Formal and Dashy might have something to do with it. But as we talk about this scrim as a whole, OpTic ended up winning when it came to the hard points. They won 4 of the hard points and lost 1. They started off on Garrison, and they just, for whatever reason, didn't really seem like they were ready to go. I don't know if the intensity wasn't there or what, but it just didn't seem like what you're typical of seeing from OpTic. And then after that, it was pretty much a wash. So when it came to Crossroads, it was 250 to 136. Basically doubled them up, absolutely blew them out. When it came to Raid, it was 250 to 175, which Raid is another one of those maps that they haven't really been playing the best at. Not that they've been getting shredded or being put in the 70-point club or whatever. It's just they haven't been playing as well as I expected them to play when it came to Raid. And then what you're watching here, I won't ruin the score, but you guys can go ahead and watch it. And then they finished with Moscow. Moscow was super close. They ended up winning the last rotation over towards P3 to secure that map. It was 250 to 225. But overall, we're starting to see things strung together, right? We're starting to see them with a wipe of Florida. We're starting to see them in the next night have a super dominant performance against Minnesota. For me, the biggest question is not if they can continue to improve the way that they're currently improving, but will they continue to be as motivated and as dedicated? For me, that kind of seems like it's always the hurdle with this squad. They've been around the block many times. They've been through many seasons. There is kind of that downtime right in the middle of the season where maybe not everybody's pushing as hard as some other squads. So we'll see if they're able to overcome that. That's something that obviously Dashy is pretty well known for. So we'll see what happens. But getting into the actual breakdown of this, pretty decent start from OpTic. I mean, they're not absolutely blowing them out, right? They did a nice job of getting time inside of P1. They then flipped around the back of P2. That's where they got the majority of their currently 72 points. And then now inside of P3, or what was inside of P3 under bottom plane, did a nice job getting points there also. And then P4, if they're actually able to get the rest of these points, that would be a big win because Minnesota was able to get that initial time inside of P4. But if they give up the last 30 seconds, that's going to end up being a wash, and that's going to push OpTic's lead back to basically exactly what it was before. So I like this route from SCUMP here. You can see how hard they're playing this back corner because essentially if you're SCUMP and if you're OpTic and you're able to push out this treehouse area of the map, once you get back here, if you can get a kill or two, you've basically taken those back spawns over. It's going to take your spawns, put you over here by wood. It's going to take Minnesota, spawn them over towards the right by stacks. And once that happens, you can then, right, I mean, right now 25 seconds have already come off the clock. So if you're Chicago, you want to get going pretty quickly, right? You don't want to take the first 40 seconds of a hill trying to earn your rotations and set up your map positioning and all that, because if you do that, then it's all for nothing, right? If you give up the first 30 seconds and you get the next 30 seconds, it's a wash, despite the fact that you won those kills on rotation and you were able to get map control and the spawns and so on and so forth. But so far, just a decent first set of rotations. If you're Minnesota, like at this point in time, if you look at it from OpTic's point of view, they did everything that they needed to do. They're set up. They're prepared to go ahead and win this map. If you're Minnesota, it's not the end of the world. You win the rotations for P2, you win the rotations for P5, and you keep it competitive in the first, second, or in the first, third, and fourth hard points on this map. You can easily come back. So just because they're down by 60, that's one hard point. But as we go ahead into this second set of rotations here, currently inside of P1, if you're OpTic, you're going to look to push out the back right side of the map here. If you're able to do that, you can overtake those spawns for P2. That's what we're going to be watching for. But without further ado, let's go ahead. Let's turn up the team comms for OpTic so we can hear exactly what they're talking about as they prepare to rotate over towards P2.
I'm pulling in front of new.
What's that, Priester?
I'm watching across the secret.
Yo,
Low left, hitting through stacks.
2 and ult, 2 and ult, 2 and ult. First guy to the left. I'm gonna spawn out, dude. Back up.
Lamar weak outside the secret. I'm backing up. I mean,
Bottom plane dead.
One more low plane.
I'm in orange.
Top plane,
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, just hold that set.
Yeah, I got it.
Attach, league.
I'm playing 1 bullet.
1, 2.
One more spawn under plane. One's under plane, you Brandon.
In the back, Priest dead.
Good job. We're
Spawning back,
spawning
spawning back. I'm reflanking, I'm reflanking.
Nice.
Another one back dead. One more in the back.
20
Weak in the back.
Oh man, so that trade right there from Formal is massive. That basically secured those back spawns. But just real quick, let me go ahead and let me pause this. Let me bring up the mini map, because you heard Formal say multiple times, push out the back, push out the back. Figures my camera's a little bit in the way, but you want to make sure that you're getting these back spawns, right? So once you push forward, you're inside of P2. The issue is that while that was happening, they actually died in the back, and SCUMP was inside of P2. So as that happens, that's going to take OpTic. It's going to spawn them out over here towards P4. As Minnesota is pushing around, so as we're rotating from P1, as they're pushing around the back of the map, this is the area that we saw SCUMP get that 3-piece. Formal was able to trade out that last kill, but the reason why I brought this up is because what Formal was saying is he was saying that they're spawning out over towards P4, push out the back. So if you're SCUMP, and this is going to go behind my webcam a little bit, but if you're SCUMP, you have to push out this back location so that you can peek out, you can try to get 1 or 2 off of rotation, because if SCUMP goes down right here, that's going to take those back spawns. It's going to give these spawns to Minnesota, and now they're going to be able to overtake P2. So with that right there, it was just a fantastic job of communicating. Formal saying to SCUMP to push out the back, and as SCUMP did that, they were able to get the 3-piece and eventually the team wipe to secure the rest of the time inside of P2. Let's go ahead. Let's listen back in.
Alley to time her.
I'm flashing front.
Bottom plane.
Yeah, bottom plane. They're going front.
Bottom plane and top right wing. Bottom plane and top right wing.
Hitting front two with me.
Yo, front two are really weak. He's like 2 volts. Front 2.
Holding it. One's
Major,
front,
it's major.
He's front.
It's close front. Major dead.
Scoop still.
Front.
Top wing. Two top lane. Last 2 top lanes.
Staying down.
I'm working far left, guys.
Top wing dead.
Play slow right off, Holden.
I hear you. Top right wing, attach. One shot top plane, attach.
Hey, is BS&D somewhere?
I have top lane.
Top left wing 2. There's 2 of them. Plane.
I got one more top lane. Nice 2.
Y'all just hold that, Brandon, if you can.
Let's see the kill now. He's low right wing, I think.
I'm just playing my life up here.
Wood spawns.
Yeah, they could have got parallels P2.
H&D major dead. Lamar healing me.
Nice.
Heal me, Lamar. Lamar's weak and hill, low right.
Lamar dead.
Spawning wood, last 2. One's gonna go for plane,
Plane stairs, and plane really weak. It's attached.
Dead. There's one more on me, I think.
Yeah, I spawned.
P2, front P2.
Another one. He's low right.
Lamar's on truck tractor to hill.
Tractor dead.
Nice.
Good time.
I'm staying down.
I'm going H3.
Where's top plane on me? Attached top plane dead.
Bottom right. Preston hurt.
Are you top plane? Ah, shit.
Yeah. I'm going to top.
I'm playing S&D. You're gonna be S&D on me, guys.
Missing Preston, bottom left.
Dead. One more AS&D.
Low left wing.
I'm getting this time.
Up in your left.
I'm at new.
Oh, low right. In my life here. Other one low left. He's gonna hit towards the middle.
There's 2 P2.
Trying to look for it.
Coming to you, Matt.
Yo, we got old. We got yo. A search. A search.
One's
come on.
top wing on me.
The top yellow.
Up wing.
Thank
Go
you.
my lane,
Yeah, I spawned green. I
Yo,
spawned
Priest
green.
was one shot AS&D.
Flash like graffiti,
no?
bro.
Then
More plane or something.
Their
Target
stairs
on
major
Lower
weak.
wing, dead. More, give me P2, give me P2.
Their
I'm
stairs
one shot
major
now.
weak.
hey, you're good.
One
Just
shot
stay down,
now.
Matt. We have
I am.
a team shot.
I'm watching top. No, BSND can see me.
As this map is going to come to a close, last thing I want to point out is that OpTic just did such a nice job on that P3 and that P4 of spawn killing Minnesota. Minnesota flipped towards the end of P2. When it rotated to P3, they still had that P2 spawn. So the way OpTic was able to seal this map is that they were able to get inside P3 under plane. They were able to get those kills as Minnesota entered that empty space between P2 and P3, and the same thing happened for P4. So just a really nice job out of them of setting up that spawn trap and executing and getting those kills. As we look at these numbers overall, SCUMP obviously 29 and 14, led his team in the damage numbers. He just had a really good map. Score overall, Envoy maybe got a little bit more of a streak, but nice numbers in terms of damage, 4,400, 4,600, 4,500. So just a nice job out of those top three, and Formal locking down the lanes. As we look across, look at these scores. Attach, Priesta, Major Maniac, and Accuracy. Nobody really close to the scores that OpTic put up. And overall, another successful day when it comes to what OpTic is trying to do here. So hopefully Minnesota can recover. It is just one day. We'll see what happens. But with that, if you're new around here, make sure you go ahead, hit that subscribe button, leave a like as always, as it really helps promote the channel. And with that, thank you guys so much. We will see you in tomorrow's upload.